Hey, Ray, Tales from the Age of Men. All right, so I get this question a lot. I want it to be very, very quick, kind of video development blog, but there's a lot of comments and questions about how strong something is, how weak something is, whether it's a lord, whether it's a culture, a kingdom, whether it's a weapon and armor. Um, I already talked about my development philosophy, but it has always been implement it, see if it works, then go back and iterate on it, right? So that's the thing, because like I just don't know what's gonna work and what's not going to work. So like I like to implement troop tree lines. I load it up, it works great. I move on. I don't, I haven't came back and iterated on the stats and looked at all that stuff. Really, I would probably shoot that out to someone in the community or someone on the team to do that. And Bennett has came back, and a couple other people have came back and did that. Like, hey, I kind of revamped um, this XML or this troop tree or something like that. So that was kind of my plan to begin with. Was like I'm moving forward, I'm charging forward, and there's going to be people in the community that are interested in changing things, just like I did when I was playing Tor and Realm of Thrones. So um, that's kind of like that development philosophy. So like when you say, hey, things aren't balanced, yes, it's not on purpose. It's just I'm getting things in. I'm moving on to they work. I move on to the next thing. I don't go back for balancing for fine tunements and stuff like that until probably like I stop, the kingdom development of the game. Like when all kingdoms are kind of like fleshed out, they're done, armors are in, weapons are in, like boom. At that point, I can go back and start doing fine tuning. But let me help you help yourself, right? So like maybe you don't know how to add XMLs, where they are at, where they're located. You go in here and it actually looks very scary. Trust me, I understand. A year ago, that was me. Um, but through this video and a little bit of Googling, I think that you'll be right as rain. It's not as hard as you think it is. I would recommend changing one thing, saving it, loading the game, see your change in game. That sparks, something that's going to continue making you go back and do it. So first thing. First things first, let's talk about it. What is in maps, okay? So I'm in my module folder, right? Bannerlord modules map folder, right? Module data is where all the XMLs are. That's the only place that you really need to look. All right, in here, the only things that you're going to care about are going to be settlement and SP battle scenes, right? So settlements, you open that thing up. Okay, so I opened mine up in Visual Studio. You can just right click and open up in Notepad++, or like, this is what Notepad++ looks like. Or in another program like Notepad, or, it's up to you. I like Visual Studio because I'm just used to it at this point. You could pick different colors for your eyes, etc., etc., etc. Notepad, you could probably do the same thing. I just haven't um, delved too deep when I have this capability here, right? So, settlement XML, what's in here? Whole lot of things. I wouldn't truly touch a lot of things in here besides maybe the text down here. So like I haven't touched this. This is a lot of native stuff here. Um, but one day I'll go through this file and I will edit all of these to be correct. Once we're done with the map, we'll probably edit all these things and call it a day, right? Or update to 1.3.2 because I think that there's changes coming, and I know that there's changes in this. But if a scene's not working for some reason, you can come in here, look at the native file first, and then copy a scene that is working. So this is what controls all the scenes. So copy what is working and paste it in there. It might be one of our scenes are jacked up or something like that. But really the only thing that you should be messing with is probably maybe prosperity. I wouldn't put that above. I think it's like 6,000 in vanilla. Like actually, I would just keep that at like 3 to 4,000. That means you get less penalties. Anything basically above like kind of 5 and 6, you're getting huge penalties, and that's how the game balances itself out. And I mean like severe penalties for being prosperous city. I don't know who thought of that system, but whatever. Yeah, but here's the text for that. Okay, let's move on. Moving on to SP battle scenes. This is what so we put in our own battle map. So shout out to whoever did that. Where is it? I want to contribute back to them, so that's why I'm just finding it. Give me 1 second. But shout out to them because they did give us enough information in this document that we could figure it out. And when I say we, I really mean Timber. Timber is good for him, and Legolas. Like those two just would not they're pitbull. They were pitbulls with this task, so it was great to see. So shout out to whoever does this. I forget who it is, but I do want to contribute back to it. I think that there's things that you need to add to this guide so that someone can come here and understand the whole thing. And I also think that this is what the purpose of this was. I don't think a lot of people come back to really add to stuff. But like if you follow this, it's actually 100% correct. So we imported this our own. And now we're going through in the battle scenes to pick what you should be playing on depending on what map indices that there are. So I'll give you also this. Hold on, give me a second. And I'll send this out to anyone that wants to edit this. This is what our map looks like now. Excuse me. Here's all the map indices. And you'll be able to play around with this, right? So right now we have successfully imported 83, which is Dead Marshes. 84 is being finished up, which is the Black Gate. The Gap of Rohan is done right over here, probably 62 or 88. One of those two will probably be both on both sides. It looks like the Gap of Rohan, and then we'll be doing various different things. But if you ever like, hey, I'm playing, I'm supposed to be like, I'm in the desert and I have forest maps, it's actually because of the we haven't gotten, once again, right, we implemented it. Now we're like making sure that we're 100% correct, and then we're probably will move on. Okay, we got scenes, we got custom scenes in, we're moving on. But one thing I do is I do want to go back to the community and show people how to actually do this. It's important for your own custom maps. A lot of people in the community I feel like know it, but you already know how I feel about bogarting knowledge. So a lot of people have been doing that, especially with this. Like people know how to do this. Like stop it. Like stop lying. But whatever, it is what it is. I'll be that person that shows the community how to do it right the first time, I guess, so that you can learn from everyone else's lessons. And then the second thing is scenes. I want to do once I figured out all of scenes and what you need. We were crashing on the caravan scene. We fixed that. Shout out to Legolas and Casaro for like literally hounds every day, like all day, figuring it out until they kind of figured out everything that you needed. Well, what we think is everything that you need to be in the scene. It loaded correctly. That's all I'm going to say, right? So if you have your own scenes down here, you add your scenes down here and you put it there. Pretty easy. Shout out to Tor for the Force Atmosphere code, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the last thing that you probably will want to touch, so I lied. So it will be settlements, it will be SP battle scenes, and then it will be the custom battle scenes. So this is what controls your custom battles right here. This is the only thing that you really need to get your scenes into custom battle. For our code anyways, it works for our custom scenes code, which is once again on the open source on the GitHub. So moving on, I'm going to go back to modules. I'm going to go to first the armory. So let's say that armory module data, and then I'm going to go, okay, there's three things, right? So some people are like, oh, I want to change a one hand to a two hand. I already did a video on that. That is going to be crafting templates. That's going to be I can actually delete this. Crafting templates, it's going to be weapon descriptions, and then that's it, right? And then actually, I'm sorry, I lied. It's going to be crafting templates, it's going to be weapon descriptions, and then it's going to be weapons. You have to create a whole new weapon calling it two-hand, but those other two, already did a video on it. I'm not going to do it here, but those are how you change that. Hey, the damage of a weapon isn't what I think it is. All right, open up crafting pieces down here, and then what you're going to do is, actually I don't want to do that. What you're going to do is change the damage factor. Now, I'm gonna have to nerf piercing because I did add in a piece of code that determines piercing damage based upon the speed. Um, so just be aware of that. It can go pretty crazy. But once again, what you do here is you change your damage factor. That's all. All you need to do is change the damage factor on your blade. However, the total weight of the weapon also plays a factor into it. So just make sure that when you're editing the weights, I think I showed the formula in one of the XMLs that I got. Changing this point by 0.1 does, I think, like 1% damage, or one point of damage in game. I think the weapon, the weight, I forget. I think it's like for every zero point 0.1, it's another point of damage. So like if you're increasing this and increasing that at the same time, just understand that kind of formula, or figure it out in game. I might be wrong or right. Who knows? But like, once again, weight of the total weapon, so the blade, the guard, the handle, the pommel are all going to factor into the total weight. That's going to add damage, and then also the damage factor is also going to have add weight. I didn't deep dive into it and do a whole bunch of control groups and tests and stuff like that. I just was kind of playing around and seeing in game by, okay, this is what it is, and then I would change this stat, figure out what it is, load it back in game, figure out what that did. Okay, a point, cool. Then I would do like, just once again, like, okay, let me increase it by 5 points. Does it I'm sorry, let me increase it by 0.5. Does that increase it by 5 damage in game? Okay, cool. Right. Anyways, long story short, that's how you're gonna do that. Additionally, another thing that you can do is the flags. I put all the flags that I pulled from the code that you can do in my channel. It's called Haterade Secret Channel. Yeah, Haterade Secret Channel right here. I pulled all the weapon flags that you can possibly put on your weapon. So there's crush through, there's burning, affects area big. That's probably like how some people are doing, kind of like the Sauron, stuff. Anyways, there's that. I'll play around with this a little bit later for the crush through stuff, and I've already added it into ours. So yeah, there's that. Those weapons. There's also item flags that you can have here that you can look at. Take a look at that channel and add it to your heart's content. But that's what you're going to do, is you're going to add it onto the blade right here. Underneath flags, I think the Witch King's sword can knock down, etc. Bonus, I think that, let's see if I can grab one. Yeah, here we go. Bonus gets shield, can penetrate, can knock down, can crush through. All those work. Kind of looked at them in game. Everything's good. But anyways, that is weapons. All right. Those are the damage for the weapon is right here. If you want to change a weapon to be something, couch, whatever it is, there's 3 files. 1 to crafting templates, weapon descriptions, and then the weapons. There are shields in here. If you want to do that, I'm not going to open it up. You can look at it. So let's say that the armor, hey, Haterade, I don't understand why this armor is this way or that way, whatever it is. Great, cool. Bring your ass over here. All right, open it up. Open up this shit, and then you could change it to your heart's content. Here's all the armor values, right? More power to you. God bless, right? Like change it all. I import it into the game. I add it to the troops, and then I set the values to wherever the fuck they are, and I don't look at them. So when someone's like, I don't understand why this troop is wearing this armor and it's a lower stat, because I didn't look at it. That's why. Because I get it in the game. It's a lot of work. I've already showed people it takes a long time to get troop trees and 100% right. I don't want to touch that. Okay. It's a lot of work for myself to do, right? To get all of these in here. Now that we have AI and stuff like that, it's a lot faster. Don't get me wrong, but to go through each and every single troop and make sure that they're wearing something unique and different, and the correct weapon, and going into it's a lot. I mean, you could just see automatically, right? I have to go into each one of these, edit them for one troop, right? Then I would have to go into the weapons, shields. Same thing. Like, I guess I could open up shields. Here's what controls the hit points on shields. Then I would have to come back here and make sure that the crafting pieces, and then tweak that, and then each and every single time that you do this, you're loading it into the game, making sure that you didn't fuck anything up. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's just not worth my time at this point. it's a lot of work. I do it in the beginning, and then I kind of leave it alone because I mean, like what? And I think that at some point we're gonna have to trim down the troop trees, um, because it doesn't really make sense to have a sword and shield line and a spear and shield line when we give speared people swords. It's just like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's it. I'm just looking at kind of bloat. The reason why I made the unit line so long and so deep is because we have a shit ton of armor for them. But like as you can see here, you can do various different variations of armor just by doing this. Copy, paste, and moving on. But like for my thing is like I wanted to showcase Key Forces and Solus and our Igor's and Leo V's armor, all the different armors that they did. That's why I did so many troops to begin with. But like I think now that we have it all, I think now it's time to head back and really fine tune this at some point. But as you can see, I have a lot of Kingdom troops, and for each one they all have their own custom armor, except Umbar. That was shout out to the community member the team member that put that together. I can't pronounce his name. I'm just gonna call him Commander. Yeah, so he did that. But like other than that, like that was kind of like actually what he did was exactly what I thought was gonna kind of in my head. I'm gonna implement it. Someone else in the community is going to have a passion to fix it. They're going to hand it back to me, and I'm just going to implement it, and that's exactly what I did here. Anyways, so boom. So if you ever have those questions, that is why, and this is how you change it for yourself. Now, moving on to the biggest module, I would which is the main module. I would tell you to be careful what the fuck you do here, because this could break your game. So I would literally do one change. The other ones are whatever, like they will fail to show up in game, like except the map. I would also be careful with the map if you're messing around with stuff. But like if you just touch prosperity and the text, you're not gonna really mess up with anything. And then like the armors, if you mess up those, they won't show up in game correctly, or they just won't show up. But if you mess around with this, your game may not load and crash. So just be careful. Do one change at a time. So you got auto resolve here. You guys can go in here and configure auto resolve. More power to you if you do this. I'm constantly tinkering with it to make sure that it feels like there's still a shot. And you can still win even if you're outnumbered or other things, other factors. I'm trying to like, I would say lightly touching things to influence kind of outcomes. My goal here, ladies and gentlemen, just to be clear, my goal here is to create a forever war. Like no one's winning. It's just a constant back and forth, and the player has to intervene to get that to change. It's like basically a stalemate. Okay, Gondor takes a couple settlements, then Mordor takes them back, then Mordor is kind of on the offensive, etc., etc. Like, and then all over the map. Like that's my goal is for the War of the Ring to never end. That's my personal goal. That's what I'm coding the game to do. And then the player has to influence the outcome of the War of the Ring. So that's what I'm doing. Anyways, just so we're kind of crystal clear on that. Config, don't touch anything in there. Configs. You guys can touch these two things. It just sets the height of the dwarf in the troll. Garrison patrol, more power to you. You can have fun with that. Basically, how long you want those patrols to be doing things, and if you want castles to do it or towns to do it. I will say I will look into the system, because if you do so happen to catch that garrison out before you're, like, say that I want to go hit a town or something like that, and I catch their garrison and I kill them, it does provide a kind of significant advantage, especially for castles, if you knock out like a 90 of their patrols before you launch your attack on them. Just saying, interesting mechanic to think about. Party mechanics, casualty configs. Once again, talked about that, but here's where you kind of edit it. I won't go to it. You guys can look at the dev blog, the other dev blog, but I just don't think at the end of the day, when you're doing a 200 versus 200 like 20 people fucking die and that's it. Like it doesn't make sense to me, so I changed it. Distance config, that's for the ambush and lookout things. Perks, more power to you. I would read the README and then mess with the JSON. It's JSON, it's not XML, a little bit different. Startup influence changes that. Anyways, moving on. Troop weights. This is the most talked about one, right? Troop weights. Oh yeah, I don't like that this is set to this and this is set to that. Great, more power to you. Add it in. Add it in or subtract it. Well, your choice. You can remove it or not. Doesn't bother me none. That's where you do it at. That's that, right? And then the last but not least thing, probably one of the most important things, is Lord's XML. So I made a boo-boo when I did the public version of this, the community version, excuse me. I didn't think about the perks, the end perks. What I mean by that, leadership at 275 is the last perk that you get. That perk just says for any leadership over 250, I believe it is. So once you get to 275 and you click on that perk, what for any skill point in leadership that's over 250, you get +1 to your party. So what I used to do is I used to put like 900, like for Sauron, I used to put like 900. So that's why he's walking around with a doom stack. Additionally, like other things that you don't think about, Steward, the overall Steward perk increases your party size by I think like 2% or 20%. I forget what it is. Didn't think about that because if you have a high steward and you have a high leadership, you're walking around with a doom stack. Additionally, medicine, which was like the worst. Like people were like, I just did like 4,000 damage to this dude, and he's still looking at me like I'm retarded. All right, so like that is medicine. I didn't look at that perk because anything after 250, once you cap it out at 275, anything after 250 adds +1 to their hit points. So some people were walking around with like, not like Sauron, like like that dude has the ability to like regenerate and come back every single time. I think I had his medicine at 900. So like all of his troops had like 900 extra hit points. Well, no wonder why you guys are struggling. But anyways, you guys can come in here and edit those for each of those more to your heart's content. But if you have a question on, I don't understand why this is like that, it's you guys can edit it yourself. It's not that hard. I don't need this anymore. It's not that hard. Anything else? Okay, party templates. I guess I could talk about. I don't need this. I'm gonna have to clean some of this up. Party templates. Okay. Hey. So like a lot of like I see people using specific things. I think like it's like Lord retinues or something like that. All that actually did was come in here and change the min and max value of each party size. For example, I actually wanted to check Gundor, for example. Yeah. Yeah, that's bandits. Okay, hold on one second. Gundor. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, Gundor. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Okay, so I've made multiple Gundor bandit party templates. What I was looking for, why I said interesting, is because I noticed when I was playing Character Switcher that some of these were not. Some of these parties that when they respawned, they didn't have a full count. Like Ebor, you spawn with Ebor, they have a full stack. If you spawn with Boromir, he has like 100 troops. Mordor kind of seems to spawn with like 200. And that's all controlled here. So like that's what I'm trying to say is like interesting because like I think I have to increase these numbers over here for the max value to make sure. But like I mean, there's a lot here that should be like easily 500. I may have to like that's what okay, so right here is a perfect example. This is what the Lord's retinue does. It increases these min and max values, but like it will increase the min value more, and it will decrease for the lower level ones. So like those three, it would be like 10, and then like these last ones would be like 30 to 40. Just giving them more veteran um, options. So yeah, so that's all controlled in priority templates. You can make it to your heart's content. But this is how strong, this controls how strong they will spawn in the beginning of the game. Okay, it's 25 minutes. This is supposed to be quick. That's how you control everything. If you ask a question about it, I will point you to this video. Haterade Tales from the Age of Men, how to, edit XMLs to your heart's content to play the game that you want to play. Have a good day. God bless.